Greetings from Denton County in North Texas. This is Aaron Layman Properties here with another update on DFW housing market conditions. Higher rates are coming back for another bite at the apple in terms of the North Texas housing market. We started out the year with renewed animal spirits. It also appears that the Powell Fed made a colossal mistake by taking their foot off the brakes before inflation has been vanquished. We can already see signs of inflation percolating again in the local housing market. The first FOMC meeting of 2023 revealed a huge blunder by the Powell Fed. As the markets ramped higher for the last month, asset owners cheered that inflation had been conquered. Housing market participants reveled in the headlines of a coming soft landing. Reality is a bit more sobering. Reality suggests Jerome made a huge blunder by not squashing those animal spirits, looking to cash in on years of unearned gains. The Bloomberg Financial Conditions Index shows that Jerome is right back where he started. In fact, financial conditions are currently looser than where the Fed first started hiking rates last year. If your stated goal is to curb rampant inflation in the economy and bring it down to a 2% target, that's a huge problem. According to Bloomberg's broad U.S. model, financial conditions are now looser than where they were on the eve of the Ukraine invasion. Remarkably, they are even more relaxed than when the Fed funds rate was still effectively zero last March, and easier than the average for the last decade. This has some serious implications for the real estate market. It also helps to explain the boost in activity we saw during December and January, as many of the supposed experts in the real estate sector proclaimed that the housing market had bottomed. Anything is possible, of course, but most of the asset owners are holding on to inflated real estate, or undoubtedly hoping that the rate hikes are done so they can hold on to the bulk of those unearned asset inflation since January 2020. The data says Soft Landing Island is looking really crowded, and terminal rates are not here yet. This column isn't long enough for the nuances of how the fiscal and monetary plumbing work. What's important for the purpose of the Denton County area real estate market is that higher for longer is here to stay. Higher rates aren't going anywhere anytime soon, not with financial conditions so loose. The Powell Fed could be forced to keep hiking well into 2023 with a higher terminal rate than they originally anticipated. All the real estate pundits chopping at the bit for lower rates could be waiting a while as the Fed is forced to continue chopping away at the inflationary monster they created. U.S. house prices decelerated rapidly in the second half of 2022. The problem for the Fed is that those prices are still 37% above the level where they ended 2019 before the pandemic started. We're still dealing with grossly inflated home prices and car prices and rents by just about any metric you choose. U.S. homeowners are still sitting on close to 10 years of normal price appreciation crammed into a 2-year period. That's serious inflation which has embedded itself into the U.S. economy. When mortgage rates are back above 7% and inflation is roaring again, remember that the Powell Fed was busy spiking the football on the 50-yard line, having some good laughs with his friends at the Economic Club of Washington in February. If 2023's first FOMC meeting was the worst policy error of the last 50 years, Jerome's glib attitude toward the task at hand was the icing on the cake. The pop before you drop. Denton County home prices continued their slide in January. More aggressive price cutting from builders during the holidays was working its way through those closing data. Denton County home prices were 15% lower compared to the blow-off peak of May 2022. That still leaves them well above pre-pandemic trend, however. While area home prices were dropping, average rents continued to climb. Average prices on single-family leases in Denton County managed to post a 6.2% year-over-year gain in January. That's the opposite of disinflation. Renters are still getting squeezed. Area home sales were down 13% compared to last year, while pending sales managed a nice comeback with the help of those loose financial conditions and lower mortgage rates. Pending sales jumped 14% in January. Those animal spirits are far from dead, and there are still plenty of investors looking for homes. Most of the action in the Denton County market was in the more affordable price bands in December and January. What's interesting is that the recent pendings data shows a bigger spike in activity in higher price ranges. One reason for that is the depletion of inventory at the lower end. Loose for financial conditions also likely lured some buyers off the fence for the higher priced inventory that is still available. This should provide a bounce in the reported prices in the next few months, until the reality of higher for longer rates sinks in. Denton County home sellers have been given a window of opportunity before inventory spikes again. Months of supply stood at 2.8 in November before dropping to just 2 months of supply in January. Low inventory levels to start the year will provide some additional fuel for a temporary bounce in prices. Even with the recent dip in mortgage rates to 6%, it's taking longer to sell a home. Average days on market for Denton County is almost 2 months now. That's a more normal figure for reasonably priced homes. It's crazy to think that the average days on market was only 2 weeks in the FOMO mania last spring. Median percent of lists in Denton County stood at 95.3% in January. Average percent of lists edged up to 93.8%. There's still plenty of sellers shooting for the moon even when it's not warranted. Reasonably priced homes are selling pretty well, but overpriced junk is not. The current crop of inventory looks like it was picked through pretty well during the holiday shopping season. So it would be interesting to see how much inventory hits the market this spring. For prospective buyers and sellers, this situation is still volatile. If you're in the market to buy a home, inventory should be rebounding soon. It may pay to wait until the inventory materializes. If you're a prospective seller, there's no time like the present. You have been given a window of opportunity. After briefly flirting with the five handle a week or two ago, mortgage interest rates bounced back with a vengeance. The January CPI print, which came in higher than expected, shows that inflation is much stickier than we've been told. It will be interesting to see the reactions of prospective buyers and sellers when they are staring at a 7 handle on rates again. Here's a rhetorical question actually, for those sellers still fishing for last year's peak bubblicious prices. If your home is really worth what you think it is, why do you suppose the Federal Reserve is still sitting on $2.62 trillion in mortgage-backed securities? Just some food for thought. Thanks for tuning in.